What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Yu, and you're watching the TF Movie Show. This is just a web series where we're talking about the Transformers Cinematic Universe. This is episode number 6. And before I begin this episode, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been viewing my videos, following and subscribing this channel, and in the end, supporting the Ragin Nation. Really appreciate you guys, and I know I say this a lot, but I really want to say thank you this time because my channel has been going through a lot of changes lately. There's a bit of an evolution, and well, change is good. Your channel needs to evolve, it needs to grow, and it has been happening a lot lately just because I moved into this new studio space. This is a permanent studio space, and this is the way it's gonna be. But not a lot of people are accustomed to change. As you can see, there's different content here. We now have something called the Ragin Nation Toy Show, and it's not always going to be Transformers related content. I know when you originally subscribed, you were here to watch content about the Transformers movie franchise, but now we are talking about the Transformers movie franchise plus toys and collectibles, and not always toys and collectibles that are Transformers related. I'm a toy collector. I love collectibles, but not everything I collect is Transformers. So I put out the Ragin Nation Toy Show for me to actually express my enjoyment for other toys and not just Transformers toys, but there will be Transformers toys in the show, but it's not always going to be about that. So I appreciate everybody who has been watching that series. You guys are awesome because I know that you guys love Transformers, but there are also other things that I love too, and I'm so glad that you stuck around to watch that. So thank you so much. And for those that are not interested in watching that, I would at least appreciate it if you just check it out anyways, even if it's not Transformers related content, just because not only does it support me, but at least you can say that you checked it out before you made a decision to not be interested anymore. So thank you so much for that. I at least appreciate that. So anyways, I just wanted to say that before I begin, and now that I've said it, let's get on with the episode. So let's talk about the Bumblebee movie. We haven't talked about anything Bumblebee related just because, well, first of all, it's a ways away. It's in December, which will come along pretty shortly because this is a pretty action-packed summer blockbuster movie season, and it's going to keep us pretty busy. But the last time there was any big news was during CinemaCon. And that was, I think, a month ago, or maybe more than a month ago. But it felt like a while ago, but that was the last piece of major news. But now we got a little bit of something. It's nothing major, but it is still something. And that is the announcement of the prequel tie-in comic. Now, this is something that they do all the time with the release of these movies. There's always a prequel tie-in movie. Prequel tie-in comic. They did it for the first Transformers film, and in between each sequel, they also did publish a comic book that covers the events that happen in between films. So this is no different. They're doing it again, and this is kind of interesting because they already put out the information on it at Penguin Random House. They put out the solicitation for it where you can pre-order it. It says Transformers Bumblebee movie prequel from Cybertron with love, and it's kind of like a play on the James Bond film From Russia with Love, which of course with James Bond was a spy movie. So it kind of gives you an idea that this could be a spy story, which is actually kind of cool. And they showed they revealed the cover for it, official prequel to the upcoming movie. And it is by John Barber and illustrated by Andrew Griffith. Now on the website, there's a bit of a synopsis there, which I'm going to get into later on. I'm going to talk more about the cover later on. But I actually want to go back in time and talk about the beginnings of Bumblebee as a character in the movie universe. And from what we know from all the different media that has been out there for Bumblebee. Now, a lot of people might be thinking, well, why Bumblebee? Why is Bumblebee such a fan favorite? Well, he just is. He's just a character that they had to put out besides Optimus Prime that is going to be a main supporting character. And even if you're not a fan of him, we're getting him no matter what. But he has appeared previously in other prequel comics. For example, the original movie prequel comic. This is the official prequel to the summer's blockbuster movie. This is the cover for it. You see Megatron there, and Bumblebee actually originally had that appearance. So the way he looks like right here is how he will ultimately look for the rest of the films. And of course, Megatron and other Decepticons like Starscream play a really, really big role, not only in the movies, but also in this prequel comic. and Megatron actually has a lot to do with what happens to Bumblebee's ability to speak. Because at some point in time, there was a big battle involving like all kinds of Decepticons, including these drones or clones, or I think they were called Dreadwings. And during the battle, I think Bumblebee got kidnapped. I can't remember. I have the comic. It's been a while since I read it. But Megatron's actually responsible for taking out Bumblebee's voice box. And because of that, we no longer hear him speak. And then he lands on Earth. He becomes a 1976 Camaro, and this is how we will be introduced to him in the original movie. And then he will have a run-in with Barricade, and and then we know what happens from then on. So that is a brief history of Bumblebee as a character before the original movie. But that was not the only time that we saw him in a prequel story. We got to know a little bit more about him in Transformers Last Night. And Transformers Last Night was a very interesting film in the sense that it was kind of like a vehicle to set up future films, like a whole bunch of future films. Let's just say this is Transformers Last Night. It essentially is a vehicle that branches off many other films. It could go on to talking about future films which talk about the histories of other characters, but they decided to focus on Bumblebee, especially with this scene. This scene got us really interested in the potential of what a Bumblebee prequel film could be like. For example, when Mark Wahlberg's character Cade Yeager walks into Anthony Hopkins' character, I forgot his name. He walks into the museum and he sees like photos, like these propaganda photos with Autobots in them, and then he says like, "Hey, that looks kind of like Bumblebee." Well, it is, and it shows Bumblebee in a different like vehicle mode, and then they called him ZB7, and in this propaganda poster, you can clearly see that he was involved in some big battles. And Anthony Hopkins' character says that he was part of the Devil's Brigade, and he turned the tides of the war, because there was this awesome scene, which I actually feel was one of the best scenes in Transformers Last Night, which was so short, where he rolls into battle with the U.S. Army, and they battle the forces of Hitler, the Nazis, with a hot rod. And that scene was really, really awesome. It made me actually very, very intrigued about Bumblebee. It gave me like this feeling that I've never felt about Bumblebee, and that was actually being really excited about his character. It made me more interested in what he did before he met Sam Witwicky. So that was a very, very important scene, very integral scene, very brief, but still a very, very important scene for the future of what's to come later on in December. So very, very cool. And you know what is great about this comic book, this prequel comic book, and this scene in Transformers Last Night is that it brings back the concept of robots in disguise. Because in this World War II scene, they roll into battle with the Nazis, unsuspecting that this is actually an Autobot that's going to take them all out. They didn't know because of robots in disguise. Now, in this comic book, we got robots in disguise again, because this comic book's called From Cybertron with Love, and that actually suggests that it's a spy story. He was a spy. I mean, look at this. Let's look at the cover here. We see this female character, and she looks like she could be a spy. I mean, just look at her. She's got the gun, and that kind of looks like Megatron, but that she's holding. But those were the guns they used back then. But she looks like she could be a spy. And look at Bumblebee. He's got his kind of G1 look to him. But it looks like this could be a spy story, which brings back the concept of robots in disguise. Robots in disguise is a concept that was lost through the many, many sequels that Michael Bay put out. And it was no longer that concept anymore. It was just Autobots that we knew were always going to be there. And, which was really, really unfortunate, because I love the idea of the Autobots and Decepticons hiding in plain sight, which is something that existed in the first movie, but the concept just started getting lost as we continued to see the future sequels, which is really, really unfortunate, because that's the essence of Transformers. And now they're bringing it back with this comic. So which is really, really awesome. Let's take a look at this cover here. We see the spy, the female spy that Bumblebee is working with. Bumblebee's got his G1 look. And then there are 3 characters, 1 human and 2 evil-looking ones, which I'm going to assume are Decepticons. The reason why I believe they're Decepticons is because, well, look at those eyes. They look really evil. And look at how they're shadows. You know, they're shadowy. They look very menacing, and they're towering over this human character, which suggests that they're a threat. So these are 2 Decepticon characters. Are these characters that are going to appear in the movie? I don't think so. I think they're just characters that are going to appear in the comic book, because keep in mind that this is the 1960s. This is something that happens after World War II. So let's just take a look at the synopsis. And I'm just going to read you what it says there. I'm going to make a commentary on it afterwards. About Transformers Bumblebee movie prequel from Cybertron with love. Fan favorite Autobot Bumblebee is recruited for a top secret mission in 1960s London. Won't know what hit it when this robot in disguise go undercover. It's high-tech, high-octane, high-clearance spy hijinks from Cybertron with love. Some call him Goldfender, but the name's Bumblebee. Or the name's B, Bumblebee. On loan to MI6 and teamed with a human partner, B's trapped in the middle of a Cold War plot to disrupt British secret intelligence. But when their base is destroyed from within, it's up to B to discover if there's a traitor in their midst. And in the spy world, allegiances can change just as easily as Cybertron. From longtime Transformers writer and British super spy aficionado John Barber, Optimus Prime Action Man from Cybertron with Love is the official prequel to the new Bumblebee film in theaters December 2018. So there you have it. This is definitely a spy movie, and it says that on loan to MI6, which suggests that, well, the Americans are, you know, they're done with Bumblebee. I mean, they won the war, and Bumblebee's no longer needed anymore, but he's still part of that team, but they decided to loan him over to fight in the middle of the Cold War for the British forces. So that's pretty cool. Now he's a spy. Before he was a complement to the U.S. soldiers, but now he's working in during the Cold War, where the wars are fought with spies. So very, very cool. The robots in disguise concept is brought back. I'm really happy about that. Now keep in mind that these comic book stories are written with the movies as a base. So the movie writers, they write these films on their own. They don't write it with the comic in mind. The comic book writers write the comic with the movie in mind, not the other way around. So while this is considered canon and official, you can still enjoy the Bumblebee movie without reading this comic, without reading this comic. It's totally fine. If you don't read comics, you're going to enjoy the movie perfectly fine without reading it. But if you want to complement the movie, I think this would be a great read. So I'm definitely going to check it out. I'm very, very curious to see what kind of adventures that Bumblebee has gotten himself into, and I think it'd be really, really cool. So there you have it. Anyways, that's all I got to say in this episode, and before I take off, I would like to give a big shout out for the TF Nation on Instagram. Follow the TF Nation on Instagram because he's got a lot of great Transformers content on his channel, and actually he was the one to actually bring this topic to my attention. So thank you so much for sharing this with me. I really appreciate it. And now, because you shared it with me, I have content to talk about on this channel, or on this web series, the TF Movie Show. And also a big shout out goes out to Rodimus Primal. Rodimus Primal has been supporting me and watching my videos, and I see his comments on my videos, and I really appreciate that. And I want to show him some love by sharing with you his channel. And you guys should definitely subscribe to his channel because he's got a lot of great Transformers content, and he's actually going to be putting together more Transformers content for you guys. He's going to try to put out 2 Transformers videos a week, and I know that's a lot of work, especially when there's planning involved. So I really appreciate the fact that you're putting work into your channel, and I really like to support the smaller channels that are out there because you guys are the future. You guys are also very, very inspired by content that's already out there. So I love seeing that inspiration to make you, to motivate you guys to come up with your own content, because all of us are very, very unique. We all have our own ideas, our own content, and it's great to see people coming up with their own ideas and just putting content out there. Everybody's got their own unique flavor to them, and I think that Rodimus Primal is definitely one of those YouTubers. So definitely show him some support. All you got to do is do something as simple as subscribing and watching his videos. So it's very, very simple. Do that support and let's create a community. I think that for us to grow, we have to do it together as a community. So once you support someone else, you're actually also supporting each other. So there you have it. And also check out his channel because he's got a giveaway that's going to happen. And all you got to do is, like I said, show him some support. And there you have it. That's all I got to say in this episode. Thank you so much for watching. There's going to be more content on the TF Movie Show. As long as there's things to talk about, we're going to put out more content, so make sure you stay subscribed. And also, thank you everybody for watching Ragin Nation Toy Show. If you like Deadpool, well, just behind me, there's a lot of Deadpool stuff over there. We're going to do Deadpool content later on in the Ragin Nation Toy Show, so make sure you check that out. Anyways, as always, if you enjoyed watching this video, make sure you subscribe to this channel, like this video, subscribe to this channel. Follow me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation, and also on Twitter at Ragin Nation. My name's Alex Yu. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. See you later!